3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Tuesday and thank you for tuning in to today's episode of We Talk. I'm Yolanda Nau. Please stay tuned for today's interview as we are headed to the National Disability Council of Namibia and talk about accessibility and inclusivity of disabled people living in this country. Before we head into the news, today's riddle. What has a ring but no fingers? The answer at the end of the show. The Minister of Industrialisation and Trade, Lucia Ipumbu, officially launched the European Union-funded twinning project providing support to the Namibia Standards Institution in Windhoek last week. The 2-year twinning project aims to boost the NSI's capacity to carry out its mandate and increase Namibia's involvement in international trade. This is the first EU twinning project in sub-Saharan Africa, jointly implemented by a consortium of 8 German and Swedish institutes with experience in trade policy, technical regulation, food safety, standardization, accreditation, and conformity assessment. Ipumbu applauded all stakeholders as this is the first step in achieving the revised National Quality Policy of 2020 to 2025 by ensuring that locally manufactured products are in line with international standards. With this twinning project in motion, Namibia will undoubtedly build a strong foundation for the development and enhancement of new and existing partnerships to international trade agreements and boost the market environment. There is no permanent doctor or ambulance and only 3 nurses who have to serve almost 20,000 people. These are only residents of Groot-Alp and excludes residents of nearby settlements such as Kransnest and Stinkwater. An ambulance that does stop here must also serve residents of Dordabus, which means that it sometimes takes hours or even a day to transport someone who is seriously ill to Windhoek. Complaints raised over and over again on Thursday by residents who sat from early in the morning waiting to see a group of Egyptian medical experts and specialists during a day visit to town ranged from birth control and chronic medication that are often unavailable and a struggle to get help at the clinic over weekend and after hours. COVID-19 hit the town hard with many people losing their lives, but no tests are done locally and the toll-free COVID-19 number must be called. However, vaccinations have been carried out here. Post-COVID, the Omba Gallery wants to stimulate new craft products from fun, funky, functional products made from found objects. In light of this, they invite creatives to submit ideas and prototypes of new products created from old, corporate gifts, home decor, homeware and fashion accessories, or anything else interesting that could capture the imagination of local or international buyers. Products should have marketing potential either as a once-off commission or as items that can be mass-produced. The final selection will be showcased at an exhibition in the Omba Gallery in July this year. The new deadline for submission of expression of interest is 12 o'clock on Tuesday, the 31st of May.
Yeah, charity for kids is close to my heart. We have a project here in South Africa called Help Yach, where we feed about 8,000 children every day. So yeah, children is obviously close to my heart. I'm a dad as well, and I'm looking forward to make a difference in your country as well. So come on and have a look at the show.
In terms of disability, there are still barriers that persons with disability face in Namibia. And especially those barriers, we need to try to see how, with different interventions, we can mitigate it. For example, you spoke about inclusivity. Inclusivity in society is still a problem, especially in the workforce of Namibia. We still have a problem with inclusivity. Currently, it indicates that at least 5% of employees should be persons with disabilities at any institution or organization or any employer for that matter. But if you look in Namibia, that is not the case. In most cases, it's zero at all. So our affirmative action process act is not adhered to in terms of persons with disability.
Ms. Philander, you have a colleague with you and she's interpreting our interview. Why did you decide that this is so important to include your colleague, especially with sign language?
Yes, because we in our disability community, we have persons with disability that is hearing impaired. So for them to, for this interview and for the information that we are giving through this interview to go out to them, we need to make sure that we give them the service that they need in order for them to understand what we are discussing here today.
I just quickly want to switch over to Maggie. Maggie, thank you so much for being here and thank you for interpreting as we talk. Can you quickly tell us from your point of view, how should people embrace sign language in their day-to-day life, especially in businesses as well?
Thank you for the opportunity, Ms. Nell. I think sign language is a language like other Namibian language, and each person, whether you are hearing or you are deaf, you should know how to communicate in sign language. Because in Namibia, we have different group of people, or even our tradition, we have different type of people that are coming from our houses. Some of them are our sisters, our brothers. They were born within our family. And so it's very important for each person from each household to know sign language. Even the basic communication is important, because sometimes we can find a child that's been born from a hearing parents, and most of the time the parents cannot sign. And this child acquires sign language at the later stage, which is a problem. So for me, I feel like it's very important for all the community, even the government institution, to have either a sign language interpreter or to have a basic communication in sign language. Because we never know what will happen to us. Because some of our colleagues in the deaf community, they were not born like that. Some of them, they were born hearing like me and you. Then they acquired deafness due to accident that happened to them, due to the illness that happened to them. So it's very important for us to prepare before time the environment, because we don't know what will happen tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maggie. What does the statistics look like in Namibia? How many people are living with disabilities?
Well, that is exactly why we have now embarked on a project called the disaggregated data project, which is data that benefits all, because there are still a lot of gaps in terms of data, the situation of persons of disabilities in our communities, as well as the characteristics of persons with disability. And therefore, we have now embarked upon this project so that we collect the data, so that we have this data, and meaning in terms of disaggregated data, meaning we are breaking data. Normally, you have your normal statistical data, which is aggregated, it is summarized. So now we want to have data that is more broken down into smaller components, which when we use it will enable us to see different trends, different patterns, and also insights reveal things that we haven't seen before. And that will then enable us to identify all the solutions. What are the challenges that people face, and what are the solutions that we need to put down in terms of breaking down those barriers that we set. And therefore we've embarked upon this to collect this data. We have summarized data of the population in terms of the National Statistics Agency collecting data, but we don't have data that gives indicators in terms of the barriers, the challenges that people are facing. How are we progressing in terms of integrating people into society? Inclusivity, we don't even have data about inclusivity of persons of disability in society. How far have we come since the time in 2007 that we rectified the UN Convention on Persons of Disabilities? We need to look at that progress that we've made, and then based on that, we can then craft better policies, evidence-based policies, make better decisions, and also craft better national development plans that is inclusive for persons with disabilities, looking at those challenges and coming up with the necessary developmental programs in order to mitigate these barriers.
Yeah, well, for those not familiar with my music, I'm a folk singer and I'm a folk writer. So yeah, it's going to be a folky show, bluesy, definitely, maybe some rock and roll.
For today's recommendation, we are headed back to the Namibia Scientific Society, and we are looking into the Ongombo underground mining project that is currently proposed, and look into the environmental assessment. The Ongombo project lies within the matchless member of the Kwiesep Formation. The project will be low-grade and low-tonnage operation, therefore the mine will be a low-cost operation, and designs will be directed at keeping operating and capital costs to a minimum. The proposed project is in central Namibia near the Windhoek district, 1.5 kilometers northeast of the Otjahase mine and 45 kilometers from Windhoek in the Khomas region. According to the background information document, new mining activities could contribute to the national and local economies and may have a positive impact on the country's economy. Namibia's economy depends largely on mining. Should the project prove economically viable, the Namibian economy can expect benefits from revenues during the construction phase, royalties and taxes during the life of mine, and a positive contribution towards employment. Between 20 and 80 people will be employed during construction. Approximately 2 mining crews of 14 personnel from the operational phase will be required, with support staff and management is expected that the total staff complement will be between 50 and 80 people, providing jobs and livelihoods for them and their families for the anticipated life of the mine between 12 and 14 years. Construction activities will include the establishment of linear infrastructure such as access roads, power lines and pipelines, as well as bulk earthworks, civil and steel works in order to prepare and establish the administrative infrastructure, processing plant, fencing and related mining required infrastructures. It also includes construction of the required ponds and tailing storage facilities, as well as the construction of conveyor belts for underground mining activities. The environmental and social impact assessment for the proposed project is being conducted by the ECC and will be undertaken in terms of the Environmental Management Act and its regulations. The Environmental Compliance Consultancy cordially invite interested and affected parties and members of the public to a public meeting and provide input into the environmental clearance certificate application process. The meeting will take place at the Namibia Scientific Society on Wednesday, the 18th of May from 6:30 p.m.
I will be performing in Namibia on the 20th and 21st of May, and it's going to be good fun. Looking forward to the concerts that we can hold. I'll have my bass player that is on tour with me. So yeah, it's going to be fun. Come and visit us.
Today's life hack is for all the gardeners out there. Did you know that Epsom salt can help with seed germination? You're welcome. Next up, Jeanette Diergaard for your Flex Minute.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, welcome to another exciting edition.
Hi everyone and welcome back to Flex Minutes. I'm Jeanette Diergaard, and now today, if you want to get rid of those, if you want a thigh gap and you want to get rid of those fat between your inner thighs, then don't worry, I got your back. So what we're going to do is that we're going to do some inner thigh workouts. Now if you didn't know, sumo squats, it's a perfect way to work on your thigh muscles. So that's why it's great to just point out your toes and to go down. And you can work those inner thigh muscles and get it all worked. And obviously you're also working on those glutes, so well done to you. And then what we can also do is some clamshells. Now I know that sounds a bit, fishy and oceany, but what you can do here is what you want to do, lift up that leg, lift up your hip on the side and do some clamshells. So there you're working on your abductors, you're working on your inner thighs, and you're also getting an oblique stretch, an oblique workout out of that. But guys, that brings me to the end of today's Flex Minute. I hope I will see you all next time again.
Do you know what has a ring but no fingers? A telephone. Ring, ring. We will be back again tomorrow for our second installment of today's interview, talking to the National Disability Council of Namibia. Have a good day and we will see you again tomorrow. Goodbye.